Okay, so now you're ready. You've gathered your data, right? You have all of the stats for a player at least. You've converted it into a decimal, and now we're going to move into the land of percentages. So, what you're going to do is you're going to take your decimal, and a decimal and a percentage are really the same thing in a way. They're just in different formats. Same with a fraction, right? They're all one and the same. They just look different. So you're going to take your decimal and you're going to work to change the look of it into a percentage. So to do that, if we take this first decimal here, my first decimal is 0.15 or 15 hundredths. What we're going to do is we're going to end up thinking about, well, what is a percentage? A percent really means for every 100, right? Percentage means for every 100. So this is really like saying we have 15 for every 100, right? So it could look like a fraction. Well, if we want it to look like a percentage, we can take this decimal, read it out loud, know that that percent sign means out of 100, and then we're going to sort of whoop, whoop, whoop our decimal over two place value spots as we essentially multiply it by 100 to turn it into for every 100. So we could say multiply it by 10, whoop, and multiply it by another 10, whoop. So we have made our 15 out of, or for every 100 into 15% or 15 out of 100, right? So this right here and this right here are the same thing, they just look different. So in other words, I have created this to become 15%. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to get my whoop on, right? So I have 0.07 or 7 hundredths, meaning 7 for every 100. So I'm going to whoop, multiply by 10, whoop, multiply by 100. Really small, and my pen's too big. If I write it bigger, it's probably way easier to see. So we can multiply by 10, whoop, the decimal moved right here. And we're going to multiply by another 10, aka 100, whoop, the decimal moved here. So now we have 7%. So this becomes 7%. Okay, and you're going to follow that along, and you're going to do that for all of your players. You're going to whoop, whoop your decimal over two place value spots to make it look like a percentage. Okay, and the final part here has to do also sort of with percentages in a way, but we're actually going to utilize the look of the decimal that we already have established here. We're going to use that to help us turn our statistics into a sort of visual where what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a spinner, and the spinner is going to show out of a whole circle. So in a circle there are 360 degrees. So in 360 degrees, what percentage essentially of the circle, what size slice of pie, if you will, did Carlos, in my case, get on base? How many times did he get to first base, to second, to third, and so on? So to do that, we're going to use a calculator, and you're going to take your decimal. So for my one bag, my singles, I'm going to type in 0.15, and I'm going to divide that by 360, the degrees inside. Sorry, I'm not going to divide it. I'm going to multiply it. I was looking at the number going, that does not make any sense. I'm going to multiply it. So 0.15 times 360. And that gets me 54. So if it isn't a whole number, you're going to round it to the nearest whole number. And that means that my degrees that I'm going to put here will be 54. I'm going to do that same thing for two bags. How many doubles did Carlos get? What size slice of the pie? Well, let's see. So we're going to take our 0.07 and we're going to multiply that by 360 degrees, if you will, and we get 25.2, but we're going to just round it to the nearest whole number. So 25.2 or 25 and 2/10 becomes just 25 degrees. You're going to continue this along for all of the different stats here.